Wow. Scientists are warning about a potential volcanic eruption that could be one of the most destructive events in human history. They predict there's a 1 in 6 chance of this happening in the next century, and it could dramatically alter the climate and put millions at risk. Remember the January 2022 eruption of the Hunga Tonga-Hunga Ha'apai volcano in the South Pacific? It unleashed a massive explosion that triggered tsunamis reaching Japan, North America and South America. Tonga itself faced severe damage, costing nearly 20% of the country's entire economy. Now, researchers at the Niels Bohr Institute in Copenhagen have analyzed ice samples from Greenland and Antarctica, and their findings are alarming. They warn that a volcanic eruption 10 to 100 times larger than Tonga's could happen in the future. Eruptions of this scale have previously triggered climate shifts and even caused civilizations to collapse. Despite these risks, experts say the world isn't prepared at all. Volcanologist Michael Cassidy from the University of Birmingham warns that there's little effort to prepare for such a disaster. He points out that NASA and other space agencies invest billions in asteroid defense, yet a super-eruption is far more likely, and currently there's no global plan to manage it. The most recent magnitude 7 eruption happened in 1815 at Mount Tambora in Indonesia. Thousands died within days, and the eruption disrupted global weather, causing crop failures and famine worldwide. That eruption was the biggest in recorded history, spewing a dense cloud of particles that blocked sunlight, cooled the planet, and caused what became known as the year without a summer. Crops failed, famine spread, and disease outbreaks claimed tens of thousands of lives. A surprising fact, this eruption may have even inspired Mary Shelley's famous novel Frankenstein, written while she was stuck indoors during the unusually cold summer of 1816. Since then, no eruption has matched Tambora's scale. But now, over 200 years later, scientists warn that another supervolcano eruption could be on the horizon, and the world may not be ready. Dr. Michael Rampino, a geological scientist, warns that today's fragile global systems could make the effects of a super-eruption even worse. Greenhouse gases from burning fossil fuels could amplify the cooling effects of volcanic particles, plunging temperatures even lower. Dr. Thomas Aubrey, a volcanologist, explains that in a warmer, more chaotic climate, sulfur dioxide gas from a volcanic eruption would spread farther and faster than before. This gas forms sulfate aerosols, which reflect sunlight and cause global cooling. With these particles distributed more evenly than in 1815, the cooling effect could be even stronger, potentially by 15% more. Despite new insights, researchers still face many unknowns about the risks of future eruptions, largely because data on older eruptions is limited. To study past volcanic activity, scientists analyze ice cores from Greenland and Antarctica, along with ancient tree rings, which serve as climate records. These clues suggest that several past eruptions temporarily cooled the planet by around 2 to 2.5 degrees Celsius. One of the most catastrophic examples was the 1257 Semalis eruption in Indonesia, which may have triggered the Little Ice Age, a period of global cooling lasting centuries. More recently, the 1991 eruption of Mount Pinatubo in the Philippines cooled Earth slightly for a few years. Because this eruption occurred during the satellite era, scientists were able to measure how much sulfur dioxide was released and how it impacted the atmosphere. Yet, despite modern tools, predicting volcanic eruptions remains extremely challenging. Fortunately, while we can't predict exact timing, we can prepare for worst-case scenarios. Scientists suggest developing evacuation plans and stockpiling food to address potential crop failures caused by volcanic cooling. Changing weather patterns are also playing a role. Melting glaciers can reduce pressure on underground magma, increasing eruption risks. More extreme rainfall, which is becoming increasingly common, can also seep into volcanic cracks and trigger steam-driven explosions, impacting both active and dormant volcanoes. Because of these risks, Researchers are mapping the volcanoes most vulnerable to climate change. Iceland, Chile, and Indonesia are identified as high-risk areas where glaciers are melting rapidly or rainfall is increasing significantly. A 2022 study revealed that 716 volcanoes worldwide, about 58% of all known active above-ground volcanoes, could be triggered by extreme rainfall, potentially sparking another mini ice age. Now let's revisit the 2022 Hunga Tonga-Hunga Ha'apai eruption. On January 15th, it created the highest volcanic plume ever recorded, reaching 187,000 feet into the sky, higher than any previous eruption. This eruption was the first ever to reach the mesosphere, the third layer of Earth's atmosphere where meteors burn up and create shooting stars. Researchers from the University of Oxford and RAL Space measured this record-breaking height using data from 3 geostationary weather satellites. Before this, the record for the highest plume belonged to the 1991 Mount Pinatubo eruption, which reached 131,000 feet. This incredible measurement was only possible thanks to modern satellite technology, a feat unimaginable just a decade ago. Finally, let's talk about Iceland's Reykjanes Peninsula, where an eruption in November 2024 led to evacuations. The eruption started just after 11 p.m., sending orange lava from a 2-mile-long fissure. Authorities ordered evacuations for residents and tourists in the Blue Lagoon Spa Resort. Although air travel remained unaffected, officials warned about dangerous gas emissions spreading across parts of the peninsula, including the town of Grindavik. This town has repeatedly faced volcanic threats, with past eruptions damaging infrastructure and forcing evacuations. For instance, in August 2024, a 2.5-mile crack opened at the Sundenjuka Giga crater near Grindavik, prompting a state of emergency as lava flowed in multiple directions. Fortunately, Iceland's meteorological office reported that the November eruption was significantly smaller than the August one. Though Grindavik is safe for now, scientists warn that volcanic risks in the region remain high. So, while scientists closely monitor these threats, experts are urging urgent action to prepare for a potential global volcanic disaster before it's too late. That's it for today. If you found this fascinating, give this video a like and share it with your friends. For more eye-opening content, check out these videos and stay curious with bright insights.